We just saw Fury, and on this show, I take my friends, we go see a movie, and then we do a review and a discussion in the car. The review part is spoiler-free, so if you're on the fence and trying to decide if this is a movie you want to see, watch the first half. If you've already seen the movie, or just want to know everything we think and don't care about spoilers, watch the whole video. So this is a war movie. We've got a very good ensemble cast: Brad Pitt, Shia LaBeouf, and Michael Pena, and I don't know the other names of the actors. There's the guy that was Shane in The Walking Dead, and then I don't know the other actor's name that was in it. But and it's a war drama, very well made, very well shot, all practical style of effects, and it's a very small story in that it pretty much is about the people in that tank and the things that they sort of experience over a fairly short period of time, because they've got, at the beginning of the movie, one of the people in the tank is dead, and this new kid comes on to replace him that doesn't really know anything, and so they're trying to get him up to speed as they move into Germany in the final months of the German part of the war of World War II. I would say, if you're a fan of World War II movies, obviously this is probably a good one to see. As far as anything else, I would have a hard time recommending it as just a great drama to go check out or a great action movie to go check out, just because to me it felt like there's nothing that really sets this apart and says this is a movie that you need to see if you've already seen the 20 other World War II movies that this is kind of like. You have there's the scenes where the Americans are doing terrible things. There's the scenes where the Germans are doing nice things. They mix in all of those story beats that you kind of expect. So while I thought it was executed really well, and I thought it was acted really well, and the story is also very, very good, my only objection to the movie really is that it's not a unique movie. Now it's the only one out in theaters like this right now, so from that standpoint, it's a good one to go and check out. But otherwise, I would say, if you're not really in the mood for a war movie, that there's no real other draw for it for me. So, what do you guys think?
I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a great movie, very character driven. Like you said, there's the guys in the tank, and pretty much the war is just a device for the story. You get to know these guys, and the cast does so well. I thought Shia LaBeouf killed it, Brad Pitt killed it, the guy from Walking Dead was amazing, Michael Pena did a great job, and even the young kid did a really good job of showing how war really affects people. And it was the only thing that I could say to anybody that is thinking about going and seeing it is a war movie, and in the vein of Saving Private Ryan, it is quite gruesome. There are some things that even caused me to, whoa, I can't believe they showed that. But all in all, it's a really good movie. I would definitely suggest watching it if you can get past blood and gore.
Yeah, I also thought it was a really good movie. It's very focused, except for one part around the middle that kind of loses track a little bit, but it quickly gets back into things after that. Very focused. If you like your color grading gray, you're going to love this movie. It's like the color set they use, and just the way it was filmed, like it's close quarters for the most part, but it never feels claustrophobic. Yes, there's a lot of stuff shot in a tank, but it's
true.
But there's so much character stuff going on that you don't really think about it. It's just it's a very it's almost like a road movie in its pace, and something's always unfolding, things are always moving, and there's a standoff towards the end that's just incredible. So, I mean, for me, it definitely is a war movie. There's not much else to recommend except for that, but the characters are great, the acting's great, it's produced well. Yeah, definitely, I'm very glad I saw it. It's amazing.
Did anybody else think that, like, there was so much of the movie that took place in the tank that when the tank wasn't in the scene, did it feel weird to y'all? Like, I was just like, where's the
It almost
tank?
felt like a boat in a sense, where you're not in it. It's like you're floating out at sea, and you're always going to come back to the boat, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of the point. I mean, to what you were saying about it not being claustrophobic, it's the tank's supposed to feel like a safe place,
Like home.
It's their home.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's our short version. If that sounds like a movie you want to go see, please go check it out. Don't let us spoil anything for you. We will get into a couple of things and talk a little bit more, in detail about the movie here. The sections I really thought, I mean, I actually really liked the way that it didn't, there were some things that I kind of expected it to do that it went against type on. The kid didn't, like, his arc wasn't slowly, like, adjusting to...
No, he quickly
was like,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
after a few incidents.
let's shoot some dudes. Let's totally do
Yeah.
that. Let's, kill them all kind of thing.
He had his innocence shattered pretty quick.
Well, and it wasn't just that. There is a sort of realistic, like, you survive your first firefight, and it's like, okay, now it's on. Like, your mind just, like, sets into
some kind of
it's
survival,
us or them kind of thing,
a fury mode,
which is what Brad Pitt was, like, trying to teach him. And,
yeah.
You got to shoot these guys, or they will shoot you. That's how this works.
It was cool. They did a kind of a balancing act between showing the humanity that they still have, while still having to do these brutal things and seeing these brutal things. And that was kind of a dance the film did, I thought.
But I mean, there was a clear point where that girl dies that it snaps in him, because to that point he had only killed those.
And she was actually killed by her own people.
Yeah, he had only killed those Germans that were burning to death anyway. And then at that point, he was like, I'm going to go kill me some Nazis. He immediately snapped, and I think that was when his innocence was just shattered, because he realized that their own people had just murdered them. And like Shia LaBeouf says, there'll be a moment when you see it, what a man can do to another man, and I think that was that moment, and from that point on, it was on.
Yeah.
But I thought they did a really good job of showing the absolute horror of war, and the fact that even though the tank corps was really close knit, they didn't get too close. The ones in the tank did, but the other tanks, they're close because they knew any second they're going to be gone.
Yeah, and they say that in the movie. Yeah. I think that sequence with them in the house was probably the strongest sequence in the movie, because they go in and there's the tension of,
Rape.
what's Brad Pitt going to do? And they're scared, and we're nervous about what's going on. We're not sure what's going to happen. And then he, like, settles everybody down, and everything seems fine. And then the other guys show up, and the tension just ratchets right back up.
It could have been a completely different scenario.
And it could go again, the tension comes right back. And that whole sequence I really enjoyed. Just that whole
I did like it for what it was. I just felt like in the course of the whole movie, it felt like it lost its focus just a little bit. It lost its purity of, this.
The thing is that if you don't have that scene, then...
Well, it shows us the humanity, especially of the Brad Pitt guy.
What I was going to say is if you don't have that scene, then the only way to get to, him having that same kind of a situation where he, like, falls in love with this girl or whatever and she gets killed, that has to be drug out over, like, a longer period of time, or it has to be set up early in the movie and have her killed later. Sort of like the girl with the red coat in Schindler's List.
Right.
Like, it's this thing where like they would have had to have established her early in the movie, and then he like finds her dead later, or he finds her with one of those signs that she wouldn't fight, later.
Yeah.
And what I really liked about that scene is that it condensed that whole section of the story down so that it could focus on the repercussions of what that meant, the before and the after of that.
Also, without that scene, you really don't have a feel for Brad Pitt's character at all, because his entire character is blueprinted out for you in that scene.
Yeah.
And so, like, it had to be there, and I thought they did an excellent job.
Well, I mean, again, there were other ways they could have done it. There were other ways they could have told that story. There were other ways they could have, explained who that character was. And I'm sorry about the stupid camera going in a blur.
Blur man.
But
it's Cal's fault.
it's, I really liked the way that they had, the battles and the sort of him getting his feet wet within the army part of it. And then you have that sort of scene that turns everything around in the middle, and then the final act turns out to be they're basically surrounded and they're basically in a suicide mission, and they just have to, or Brad Pitt actually decides to go for it and the rest of them decide to stay with him, where they probably could have gotten away if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Like if they had just run for it, they could have.
Yeah.
But they were the
caught
only
up to the other guys.
they're the only tank left that's between a whole bunch of 200 or 300 German Nazis and the supply train that's going to screw up an entire.
Which I don't know if I missed it in the movie, but I got a better feel for that as the plot in the trailer than I did in the movie. Like it wasn't really clear to me.
Yeah, there was
what
only
they
a
were
couple of lines to
sacrificing.
explain it, wasn't there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But that makes sense though, because for them it's just another mission.
Well, for me,
It's just like,
in the movie, it seemed like it was just Brad Pitt saying, "I'm not leaving my home. This is my home."
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like the strategic
Right.
necessity that they take them out.
Yeah.
And the added thing on top of it was that it was an SS battalion, which were the guys that were left over that were still, fanatical and all
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Definitely
And
not going to surrender.
They
With-
wanted to take them out.
with the in the trailer, it actually shows Brad Pitt talking to the character they call the old man, the general, and he's explaining why they have to take this crossroads.
Yeah.
They cut that out of the movie.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
the trailer makes it more clear as to what they're doing. And in spite of that, I liked the way that it was done. I liked that they decided to stay because the tank was broken and the tank was it was part of their.
One of my favorite scenes in the entire movie was actually when they fought that tiger. The tiger tank.
Yeah, that was
That was tense.
That was tense.
Yeah, it took
That
out
was,
3 other tanks.
it was scary. That tank was a villain. It was a scary. It was a scary villain.
Yeah,
it
they
was
were
like
totally
a horror
outgunned
movie
and out
because
armored, and yeah.
they're sitting there shooting it, and it's just walking through it
Yeah,
like
it's
nothing.
like they've got a pea shooter.
well, and again, like they had that text at the beginning that said, that the German tanks were superior and the American tanks got their asses kicked in the early parts of the war, which is totally true. And it is also this really nice thing about the movie is that it doesn't linger on any specific thing. It doesn't like beat it into your heads about how strong the German tanks were. If they had like a 45-minute like multiple tank battle, that wouldn't have been as impactful as this 3
Skirmishes.
American tanks versus
Yeah.
this one
Yeah.
tiger, and the tiger is just killing.
Oh my
Just-
god!
But that's where I like the film. It had its focus about it.
Yeah.
It didn't try to like lose scope.
Yeah, and that's what I mean
I
about it being like a
appreciated that.
really small story. Like it didn't try to tell you the whole war. It didn't try to show you like, okay, now here's where all the Germans are, and here's
Yeah, it wasn't about strategy or anything. It was just this group of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was characters in a situation.
Which made things more tense, I think.
Yeah, absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
Also, even though these characters, some of them have hard personalities, and is like Shane from Walking Dead, he is John Bernthal is his name, by the way. I just remembered that. He is incredibly hard to like right out of the gate. And over time, you grow to care for these characters, and you love their banter.
Well, the horse
and
story
everything. Oh God,
was like a pretty cool part of that scene.
yeah.
Like, why are these people? Why are they so like I don't know what's the word, robust or obnoxious and whatnot? And then you know, I guess they shot like how many 100 horses, had to conserve ammo, and it could only use one bullet each. And I guess that's just one of the many things that totally screwed them up.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean they were broken people.
Yeah.
It was really good, a well done movie.
Yeah.
Totally.
I couldn't think of anything that the director had done before.
Oh, I didn't catch who directed it. Yeah. But, yeah, anyway, that's Fury. Hope you enjoyed the way we do the review. If you do, please like the video, subscribe, and check out all the written video reviews at dalemaxfield.com. Thanks for watching.